Will the Saints lose out on Dan Pitcher with Brian Callahan going to Tennessee as their next head coach? Spoiler, Dan Pitcher is the new OC with Cincinnati. So we have lost out on Dan Pitcher. You may be asking yourself, well, James, if we lost out on Dan Pitcher, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the fact that the Saints seem to hurry up. We're not in official panic mode, but we are in official, hey, what are we doing mode? Hey, Mickey, what's going on, my guy mode? Because since our last offensive coordinator update, where we were possibly hiring Dan Pitcher, we were possibly hiring Shane Waldron, we were possibly hiring Zach Robinson, 2 of those 3 are gone pecan. Okay? Pitcher is now the OC in Cincinnati, and Waldron is now the OC in Chicago. As this heats up and as dominoes start to fall, like we've said before, once that first domino falls, it is a rapid pace because teams are trying to hire, teams are moving, teams are shaking, teams are interviewing. An hour ago, Jim Harbaugh is now the head coach for the Chargers. I guarantee you, in like 48 hours, we'll probably hear where Bill Belichick's the head coach because it was probably like the agents are constantly trying to talk about like, oh, well, if Harbaugh gets this, then we're going to ask for this. If he goes here, then we're going to try and go here. So it's a constant game of that. It's the same thing with these coordinators, where once Waldron goes to Chicago, okay, that then sets in motion Callahan to Tennessee, then that sets in motion Pitcher, then that sets in motion this person and this person and this person. Here's the problem: we're running out of the template that we wanted. The young, new, evolving, innovative. We're running out of that. Who have I heard recently attached with the Saints? Chip Kelly, John Gruden, Mike Sullivan, Brian Greasy. Now, Greasy is different because he's coached for 10 months. He was in the ESPN booth, and now he's been coaching in San Francisco. I'm not exactly sure he's ready to be an OC. The other guys, Gruden, Kelly, Sullivan, what do they have in common? I'll tell you, they ain't done nothing recently. Nothing. Sullivan was the quarterback's coach / interim OC at Pittsburgh. Cool. Exactly what I want to do. Replicate Pittsburgh's offense. What's he most known for? Developing Eli Manning 12 years ago. More than that, 20 years ago. Sweet. I'm sure a lot of what he utilized then is going to come into play now. Awesome. Gruden, old, retread. Kelly, old, retread. We don't need that. We don't need a retread. We already know what we need. Young, innovative, evolving. Shanahan tree, McVay tree. Easy. Right now, it sounds like we're down to two candidates from that template. Zach Robinson, Gerard Johnson. Johnson is the quarterback's coach in Houston. He developed, obviously, C.J. Stroud, and he's also under Bobby Slowick, one of my favorite OCs in the NFL. If those two go somewhere else, and Gerard Johnson just interviewed with Philadelphia, so if Philadelphia offers him the OC position, I got a sneaky suspicion he might go there. If those two go somewhere else, we might be SOL, ladies and gentlemen.
The Saints are facing some heavy competition for their early list of candidates at offensive coordinator.
Shout out New Orleans football on the new studios. Very nice stuff. New studios there on Veterans Memorial Boulevard in Metairie. Congrats, GGs to everybody involved. Well deserved.
I'm Nick Underhill, and you're watching The Dot, presented by Matt Bowers Auto Group. The Tennessee Titans are closing in on a deal to sign Cincinnati Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan as their next head coach. Now, this matters to the Saints because Dan Pitcher, the Bengals' current quarterback's coach, was on their initial list of candidates for offensive coordinator. So when Callahan gets his job, which seems likely, that will put Pitcher at the top of the list to replace him in Cincinnati.
Yeah, again, what we're hearing, we're kind of retroactively doing this. What we're talking about is it's not so much Pitcher, because obviously Pitcher is now out of the picture. No pun intended. Always intended. It's not the fact of that. It's the fact that you can see these dominoes moving. Why aren't we doing anything? We got rid of Pete Carmichael. Okay. Oh, I forgot to throw another coordinator possibility in there. Ronald Curry. Ronald Curry would be a hire from within. Now, let me tell you this right now. If we hire Ronald Curry as the offensive coordinator, I will come absolutely unglued. I will be in a riotous situation. I will be befuddled, flabbergasted, and downright pissed. Now, does anybody know why? Does anybody know why I would be irate? I'll tell you why. Because we could have had a free trial of Curry this season. We could have fired dingus Pete Carmichael in week 3, 4, 5, and got basically a full season of trying this out. A free roll, if you will. We could have tried Curry out as OC and seen how it worked. But no, we stuck around and kept Pete Carmichael, who was lost in the parking lot trying to figure out which way was the entry. We stuck it out with him, cost us the season, cost us the division, cost us a year of Derek Carr, 9 wins, all of that. And if we waited that whole time to now hire Curry, when we could have just done it 4 months ago, I'm going to be really, really, really unhappy. And I really hope that's not the case. And if you go back on this channel, I said before last season, talk about some foresight, before last season, I said Ronald Curry should be the OC. And I stand by that. He should have been the OC last year. And maybe he would have been fine, and maybe he could have became the full-time OC if he was the interim, however you want to phrase it, whatever. But the circumstances look awful if we hire Curry because of what we could have had. Unless he is just a standout candidate. If he ends up being amazing, whatever, it's fine. But just how it looks in a bubble, not awesome.
Now, New Orleans could still swoop him away, even though it looks like the Bengals have the upper hand here, because the situations are a little bit different. Zach Taylor currently calls the offensive plays in Cincinnati, and in New Orleans, pitcher would have the opportunity to do that all by himself.
I mean, again, we're talking about something that's already happened, but if you're a pitcher too, you have to think about it like he's never been an OC. So if you're going to be an OC, if you're going to try that, you're going to dip your toes into that, whatever, I would want to do it somewhere where I'm comfortable. I'd want to do it somewhere where I know the players, I know the scheme, I know the coaches, I know Joe Burrow, I know all that stuff. I have a house there. You know, like there's a lot of factors more than just, oh, well, that'd be fun to try this on my own. So, okay, well, is it so fun that you want to uproot your family? Is it so fun that you want to move from Cincinnati to New Orleans? Is it so fun that you want to learn a whole new team, a whole new coaching staff, a whole new building, a whole new front office, a whole new ownership group? Is it worth that? When you start factoring in the human element of a lot of these decisions, or even if you think about your own career, you know, like let's pretend you are you're like third in command in the human resources department at your work, and you work in New Orleans. And then let's say you get offered a job to lead an HR department, but it's for a completely different company, and it's in Cleveland, Ohio, or it's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or it's in Tampa Bay, Florida. Would you say, maybe I should just kind of work my way up at the position I'm in now? Maybe I should look for something closer. Maybe I should think about this. Or would you say, yeah, okay, I want to lead the department so bad that I'll take that risk. Because when you start factoring in those human elements and take away the whole, like, this is just one big game of Madden, and you start factoring that in, it becomes a lot tougher. So I don't blame pitcher for his first year as an OC, even if he isn't truly the OC, even if he's, you know, kind of behind Zach Taylor or whatever. I would look at it like I'm learning from Zach Taylor. I would look at it like I basically have a free roll if you're Dan Pitcher, because you can kind of be the OC without the pressure of being the OC for a little while. Then potentially maybe you'll go be an OC, a true OC or a head coach somewhere else. But so I don't blame pitcher for sticking around.
And if he does that and does a good job, that accelerates his path to potentially becoming a head coach. So it could still be a situation where pitcher wants to do that and he likes what New Orleans has to offer, though the competition here is much, much heavier. We're going to continue to cover everything about this offensive coordinator search on NewOrleans.football.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation where we were full of hope, we were full of whatever. There were so many names, there were so many possibilities, but now each name, each possibility is slowly being extinguished. You know, we're sitting in a position where when we first did the video, our first video, it was like, man, we could get Robinson, we could get Waldron, we could get pitcher, we could maybe we'll even interview Gerard Johnson, we could do this. It was all these, Ben Johnson, maybe we could do it was all this, and now it's like none of that's happening. Joe Brady. We were talking about Joe Brady being the OC. He's interviewing for head coaching positions. He's an interim OC, and he interviewed at Atlanta to be their head coach. You think he's interested in being an OC for the Saints? Hell no. Absolutely not. That shows you how high his stock is. We need to make a decision quick. I'm not saying we need to rush into a decision. I'm not saying we need to pick the wrong guy, but we need to do something quick, because if we do not, then we're going to lose out. We're going to end up doing a retread. And Sullivan, by the way, Sullivan's getting thrown out there because he has ties with Derek Carr, and he coached David Carr, which shows how old this retread is. So it's just two completely, that's another part that's brutal about this, is it's two totally different lines of thinking, right? Like one line of thinking is, let's get younger, let's get innovative, let's evolve. And that's the Zach Robinson, Shane Waldron, Dan Pitcher, that whole area. Then you have the, let's get a tried and true old retread, and maybe even somebody who has ties to Derek Carr. That's your John Gruden, Sullivan, Chip Kelly, that basket. Two very opposite lines of thinking. And man, I tell you what, if we bottle this, if we butcher this after how hard we worked to get Pete Carmichael out of there to try and fix this offense, if we mess it up, it'll be tough to stomach, ladies and gentlemen. Go down in the comments below. What are you thinking? Throw some names out there. Who do you think we should look at? Who do you think we should hire? Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video.